Okay, so hey guys, it's Ray for Frey back in, and today's video we were watching Muldoons Logs by Ali Wada. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Following footage was captured on Isla Bar in September 1991 for training purposes only. Okay. Engine Training Division Behavioral Observation Log Subject Velociraptor V Anteropus? I don't know. Covered by Robert Muldoons.
Robert Muldoon, Game Warden, Isla Nublar. Feeding procedure for Velociraptor Anteropus. The date is September 1st, 91. I'm standing here at the Raptor.
What does that say? Containment handler gate? I think that says some. Oh, containment handler only. Something's.
Enclosure prior to the evening feeding cycle. I will now document the
Was that a T-Rex?
feeding process, which I think is not as efficient as I would like. There are still many things that need smoothing out, but I want to keep it professional and objective in this log. Here, at the entry gates, we have a staggered system.
Oh, carnivore handlers only. Within 50 feet.
Whereby doors can only be opened once further doors have been locked, similar to the double doors of a walk-through aviary in any zoo, where visitors close one door before opening the other to
I think that was Brachiosaurus.
prevent birds from escaping. The birds in here, however, won't just escape, they'll gut you to death. But like I said, the system needs refining. As it stands currently, only selected carnivore handlers and myself are permitted to feed the raptors. Let me show you how that's done. The authorized handler will use his swipe card to enter the buffer enclosure.
SCP. SCP. I think it'll be. I think it'd be here, right? Right. I think so. I think you'll see it here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah.
With a live animal, usually a cow. We've tried feeding the raptors beef, lamb, chicken, pig.
Beef or freaking cow? Are cows not beef? I know what they mean. I know dead cow, aka beef.
You name it, but they won't touch the stuff. They need living prey because they want to hunt. They want to coordinate and take down a live.
To quote Alan Grant, T-Rex doesn't want to be fed, he wants to hunt.
Animal. So we've resorted to bringing in a cow or a goat once every 3 days or so. The handler will lead the cow into this enclosure. This buffer enclosure is double fenced with a steel barricade internally and then a 10,000 volt electric fence externally, mounted on concrete slabs which extend 10 feet underground to prevent the raptors digging. The enclosure, as you can see, is fortified on both sides and from above to prevent the raptors leaping, because they're astonishing jumpers, easily clearing 10 feet plus.
I think that was shown in the Lost World.
Now this is the actual feeding enclosure, and again the handler uses his swipe card at the scanner to open the gates like so. This pen opens up to the Velociraptor exhibit that visitors will see on the tour once the park is up and running. So that means
And as we know, it never got up and running. Wait 1 second as I go get something. Let me just that and okay.
I am standing now is the rear of the raptor exhibit, out of sight from the Explorer Tour track. I personally don't think any child visiting this park should see a 6-foot reptile eviscerating a poor cow, and that's why we feed them away from public eyes. Once the cow is brought into this pen, the handlers exit, locking this gate, and then proceed out the buffer enclosure. It is only once both gates have been closed and the handler is safely behind 2 locked gates that the raptors are permitted to enter this enclosure and feed. This fence, as well as the electric fence beyond, slide open and the raptors enter where I am currently standing. For obvious reasons, I will not open this gate. But that is essentially the gist of how we currently feed the raptors here, while the construction of the raptor pen a little further away reaches completion and we transport the pack there. Now, if we look out into the raptor enclosure, there are 5 female animals in here. We bred 8 originally, and then 2 more were cloned on Sauna, but 1 did not survive transport to the park, leaving 1 big one to join the pack in here. When she came in, she took over the pride, killing half the original brood. Just 4 days ago, the big one killed a smaller raptor, so I'm always watching her. I don't believe we'll spot any of them right now, and that's probably because they are nocturnal animals, as are a lot of predators today. I've had many discussions with John about feed timing and whatnot, and possibly switching to nocturnal feeding, as daytime may cause stress and agitated behaviors. The last thing we want is an agitated velociraptor, believe me. And on that note, that completes this log of the feeding procedures. What the? Is that another? Shit. So as I documented earlier this afternoon, another raptor was killed. She was removed from the enclosure by a chopper, which was a disaster. She sustained a massive laceration to her underside and bled out. My guess is the big one took her out, but the enclosure cameras didn't catch it. There's only so many cameras you can place across an enclosure the size of several football fields covered in dense vegetation. The surveillance footage from last night, after the dead raptor was removed, only raised more questions. I noticed the remaining 3 females being very busy, but I couldn't spot the big one. Anyway, another one down, 4 remaining raptors. I'll document the raptor pack dynamics tonight. They're bound to change after another member dies. They go at the fence every night, never attacking the same place twice. They test the fences for weaknesses systematically. They learn and they remember. That big one is a real problem. She's costing Hammond hundreds of thousands. When she was introduced, the dynamics of the pack changed significantly. Dominant from the start and absolutely lethal to any raptor that did not fall in line. She shows extreme intelligence, even problem-solving intelligence. That one, when she looks at you, you can see she's working things out. She doesn't test the fences anymore. She watches the others do it for her. They obey her completely. She directs them. I've seen that look before in lions and wolves, but not in reptiles. It's not instinct. It's something else. She's making plans at the moment, and the other raptors are awaiting instructions. This is the big one in the back. And now that they know there's something in the feeding enclosure, we might get to see what I came here for. Their communication is far more advanced than reptiles of today. There's verbal cues and sounds, but there's also eye movements and tail twitches. One thing about the big one is she's fairly stoic in her communication style. She's aggressive when she wants to be, but is not as animated as the others. She'll stand still and stare directly into your eyes for hours. The others I describe as more bird-like in their behavior with erratic movements. Oh, here we go. She's chosen one of them, and they're off. These two are a few years older, and they seem to be the most loyal to the big one. They seem to be quite obedient to her. But where did she go? See, that's what she does. She gives out orders and then sits back and watches. And these two clowns do her bidding. Shit. I've never seen one of them make contact with the fence for such a long time. Jesus Christ, I think she fried herself. You were here to distract me. Clever girl. The following morning, the big one and her two remaining minions were tranquilized so that our vets could enter the enclosure and inspect the raptor's injuries. She sustained third-degree burns to all four limbs and lacerations to her mouth before being hurled some 40 feet away from the electric fence. She smelled of charred meat. Consequently, she died. This raptor in particular was far younger than the others. My guess is the big one picked on her specifically to test another region of the electric fence. This one mustn't have had the experience that the other raptors had and couldn't manage to execute the task without frying herself in the process. I would almost feel sympathy for her if I didn't have an obsessive need to have them all destroyed before one of them eventually figures out how to escape their enclosure. The sedated raptors were moved from this enclosure to a far more reinforced pen. Unfortunately, that wasn't without another casualty.